Should you hold a foreign currency deposit? For most US savers, the short answer is probably not. But the why is where it gets interesting. And for Korean and Japanese savers, the answer flips completely. Let's run the numbers. Start with the baseline. You have $10,000 in 6 months. For a US saver with no foreign currency need, the comparison set is CDs, not foreign products. Top 6-month CD rates in early May 2026. Marcus around 4.00%, with a $500 minimum. Limelight Bank around 4.15%. Schwab brokered CDs around 4.20%. Capital One around 3.90%. Verify with the bank before opening. These move. Run the math. $10,000 at 4.0% APY for 6 months yields roughly $200 before tax. At a 24% federal bracket, about $152 after federal. State varies. HYSA rates run slightly below the top CDs, often 3.5 to 4.0%. But they keep your money liquid. That trade, yield versus liquidity, is the whole US decision. So why do foreign currency deposits exist at all? Because for non-US savers, the math is completely different. A Korean saver holding 100% won assets is fully exposed to won depreciation, with the dollar around the 1,470 level. Same for Japanese savers, with the yen in the mid-150s. Allocating 10% to dollars is natural diversification and a hedge against import inflation. US residents have the opposite default. Your salary, rent, groceries, retirement, all dollar denominated. Adding more USD exposure provides no diversification at all. Now the tax part. The same product, a 6-month USD deposit yielding about $200, produces 3 very different outcomes by jurisdiction. In the US, FX gains on foreign deposits are ordinary income, plus heavy reporting. In Korea, FX gains on individual deposits are tax-free, with 15.4% withholding on interest. In Japan, FX gains are miscellaneous income, with a 200,000 yen filing threshold. Korea's tax-free FX gain treatment is the most generous of the three. Japan's 200,000 yen threshold means smaller balances often produce no tax liability at all. For US residents, FX gains are ordinary US income, regardless of how the foreign country treats them. And for US persons, there's a landmine with a name. FBAR. If you're a US person and your foreign accounts exceed $10,000 aggregate at any point in the year, you must file FBAR, FinCEN Form 114. Non-willful failure starts at $10,000 per violation. Willful violations can reach $100,000, or 50% of the account balance. And FBAR is just the first form. Form 8938 kicks in at $50,000 to $200,000 in foreign assets, depending on filing status. Schedule B reports the foreign interest. Form 1116 claims the foreign tax credit. PFIC rules hit foreign funds, though generally not plain bank deposits. Here's the punchline. Cross-border CPA fees for this stack typically run $500 to $2,000 a year. That often exceeds the entire yield advantage of holding the foreign deposit in the first place. What about holding dollars at a foreign bank? Say a Singapore or Hong Kong account, offering 4.5% on USD. Compare honestly. A US bank CD at about 4.0%, files 1099, and carries FDIC insurance up to $250,000. A foreign USD account at 4.0 to 5.0%, triggers FBAR and Form 8938, and only carries foreign deposit insurance. Brokered CDs around 4.2%, and 6-month Treasury bills at 4.0 to 4.3%. Typically beat foreign accounts on after-tax return, with zero extra compliance. T-bill interest is even state tax-free. The narrow case for foreign accounts is operational, paying foreign expenses, not yield arbitrage. Back to the savers the product actually serves. For Korean and Japanese households, how much USD is the right amount? The common guideline, from regulators and banking associations, is roughly 10% of household financial assets in foreign currency. Adjustable within about 5 to 20% by risk tolerance. Above 20 to 30%, the position stops being a hedge and becomes an FX bet. In practice, a Korean household with 100 million won in cash assets lands at about $6,800 for 10%. A Japanese household with 30 million yen at roughly $19,000. Adding more because the dollar will keep rising is speculation, not diversification. One more layer, inflation. A USD deposit at 4.0%, with US inflation around 2.5%, is a roughly 1.5% real return, before any FX move is factored in. Nominal yield is not the whole story. The interest tool runs all of this. USD CD scenarios at 3.5, 4.0, and 4.5% APY, across 3, 6, and 12-month terms. After tax outcomes adjust for your federal bracket and state inputs, and the multilingual versions layer FX scenarios onto the same interest math. So, the honest summary. US savers stick with CDs, brokered CDs, or T-bills, around 4.0 to 4.2%, none of which require FBAR. Korean and Japanese savers get something US savers can't, currency diversification at retail scale. And the 10% rule keeps it diversification, not a bet. That's the foreign currency deposit question, answered with numbers. Run your own scenario, including the case where the answer is, leave it in your home currency. See you in the next one.